Hello, this is Life Coach TV, and I'm Laurie Lawson. And tonight I have a special guest with me, Tara Roth. Tara, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And she is going to tackle, or she does tackle actually on a regular basis, intuition, which is one of my favorite subjects. And she's just totally reversed a whole bunch of things that I thought about. Because I'm a person who always says intuition is kind of like common sense. Either you got it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tara has been proving to me, first of all, you should see the weird things going on in this room. But we'll tell you about that another time. But Tara has proved to me that you can actually develop your intuition abilities. So first, Tara, tell us that she's a coach, of course. Life Coach TV, why not? Tell us what kind of coaching you do and kind of how you got into this whole thing.
Okay, absolutely. So I call myself an intuitive coach, and I have clients that are business clients, and I have clients that are life clients.
Okay.
And how I got into this is I'm a corporate executive coming off of 20 years of experience.
It didn't have to be 20. It could have been plus.
That's true.
Yes.
That's well put.
Yes, yes.
And I was in human resources, and it was a lot of fun, but when it was over, I really wanted to work for myself. And as you know from being in HR, you do actually a lot of coaching, although not in the classic coaching sense, and counseling. And that's the part of the job I loved.
Right.
So I decided I would be crazy and start my own business. And so I went through certification with IPEC. I'm now a trainer for them. And
Just happens to be my alma mater, yes.
All right. And
we call ourselves eye-peckers,
yes,
which is kind of weird.
It is a little strange.
Yes, it is.
But we won't go there.
No.
It's a PG show.
That's true.
And so I just started my own business. And the funny thing is when I first started coaching, I was just doing straight business or life coaching. And what happened is I started, because I've been intuitive my whole life. Oh,
Tell us the four, before you tell us how
Okay.
you, because they're going to go, what? And they're going to go, okay, this is the science fiction channel. Tell us the four areas of intuition that
absolutely.
Tara's philosophy is that everyone is
Absolutely,
intuitive.
yes.
Okay.
Everyone is born intuitive, and what happens is we've learned to discount it or ignore it. Part of it is our socialization. As we grow up, we're told, oh, that's just your imagination, or it's just a coincidence, which I explained to Lori means two things that happen at the same time. It doesn't mean they're not related.
Right.
So we're all intuitive, but we learn to ignore it. And so I maintain it's like a muscle, and you can build
I love
it
that
by
analogy.
practice.
And
Yeah.
the intuition is a muscle.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And there are four different ways you can be intuitive?
Yes, everyone's intuition speaks to them a little differently, but there's four primary ways, and most people use one or two. So I'll tell you about them. The one that is the most famous is clairvoyant. And clairvoyant means clear seeing. And that's
Okay.
like the gal on Median. You know, she gets visions. But there's actually forms of clairvoyance. People who have dreams that are prophetic, that come true, that's a form of clairvoyance.
Okay.
You could also be a clairvoyant who just sees sort of sparkles or things just outside your range of vision. That can be a form of clairvoyance. Then there's clairsentient, that gut feeling. I'm sure in HR you would interview someone and go, I had a gut feel this guy was a loser.
Big no on the
Yes,
application.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's when you get butterflies in your stomach. It's a very physical form of intuition.
Okay.
Then there's claircognizant. That means clear knowing. And it's where you just know something. You don't even know how you know it. You think, I knew the phone was going to ring, or I knew she was going to say that. So that's claircognizant.
Yeah.
And then there's clairaudient, and that's when you hear voices.
Okay.
And I'm clairaudient. I often think about what it would have been like to be in a boardroom and say, yes, I hear voices.
I dare say you wouldn't be there too long.
Yes,
And they
indeed.
would tell you to go take
There's
your
medication.
and come back later.
Absolutely.
When it kicks in, yes. So, accepting all that, and we're going to, there's so many things we want to cover tonight. But, okay, so how did you decide, well, you knew you were a little
Intuitive,
yeah. So how did you decide to come out of the closet, so to
Yeah,
speak?
yeah. No, it's a great question because I was like a secret psychic when I was in
Yeah.
the corporate world. You know, it was sort of my thing, and it came in very handy.
Absolutely. I
It
can
really
see where
was.
It would.
Yeah, and it was helpful when I was job searching, all of that stuff. So I was building my business, and I kept tweaking it, and I was never satisfied. And then I heard my guide say, "Use your intuition." So I thought it meant teach people to be intuitive, which I do and I love, and it's great fun.
And it
but I
did.
kept getting use your intuition, be all you can be. It's like, what is this, an army slogan? Be all you can be. So suddenly I realized that people were asking me if I did intuitive readings out of nowhere. So I thought, oh, they want me to be an intuitive coach. So I made a deal and I said, you know what? The next person who asks me for a reading, I'll say yes. The next day, someone asked me for a reading. I said yes. And then suddenly my phone started ringing. You know, here I'd been afraid that what self-respecting business coach isn't intuitive? I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. People will run away. And people were fascinated and started contacting me. So it's been great.
Isn't that amazing?
You know, the thing I was the most afraid of, and it just worked out beautifully.
And it was no pun intended, a leap of faith.
Absolutely.
And immediately gratified, which is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it really was a leap of faith.
So now you coach individuals and you also coach. I can kind of see, and let me just tell you, keep listening because you're going to get hooked. One and two. Tara is going to be a speaker in one of our 2009 meetings. She's decided, and I don't know if this is intuitive or just bad timing, but April 15th. So pay your taxes early and come to the meeting because you know what? She's got some guarantees. Tell us what you're going to do at the meeting. And then
so at the meeting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach people the different ways their intuition speaks to them, give them a sense of how it works for them personally, and then I 100% guarantee you're going to have an intuitive experience. We have some hands-on exercises.
Can you stand it? I can't
no
wait.
fail. You will have an intuitive
Our
experience.
success rate is 100%.
That's right, so far.
And if you don't get to leave the room till you have an intuitive.
That's right. You'll be staying until you have until you admit to an intuitive experience.
Just make it up if you have to. You'll never get home. But no, I think that is so exciting.
It's a lot of fun. You know what's the most fun, Lori, is to watch people's faces because they think it's this big bells and whistles thing, and when they have the experience and they realize what happened, they're like, oh my God. So people either get really excited or really scared. I had a guy who was like, this is really scary. He was so cute.
And then he went on to develop. So what she's going to be doing is actually taking us mere mortals and developing our showing us how to, teaching us how to fish and how to develop our intuition. And so I'm just so excited about that. But tell us right now what we can do now. I wish you could do it now, but you do individuals, obviously, and and then you also do businesses. How do you help a business develop its intuition?
Well, most corporate executives will tell you, if you get them alone, that they are intuitive, that they really do use their intuition sometimes to make a decision. So it's really about getting that individual to acknowledge it. It's like I mentioned to you earlier, let's all agree intuition is real. It's not a made-up thing.
Yeah.
And then getting them to understand, well, how have you used it in the past? How has it served you? And then to actively start applying it in the future. It's just like there's a class I'm teaching that's coming up soon to help people use intuition to build their business. And really it's about what is it you want to happen. Like let's say you're looking for an accountant, but you have no idea what to do. So I would teach you to really just see the end results in mind, that you found an accountant, you're really happy, he's working or she, great with you. And then just let it go and pay attention for signs. Because what might happen is your phone might ring and Susie, who you haven't talked to in 6 months, might say to you, I just met at a networking experience, I just met this accountant who at this networking event, he was great. Because that's how intuition works. You set your intention for something, because intention is very important. You put your focus out there and then boom, it comes back to you.
Okay, now this is starting to sound a little bit like The Secret. So tell me what's different between the intuition and The Secret, which we all know about, and we just want to just keep looking for those lotto numbers, but they haven't shown up yet.
The Secret talks about the law of attraction, which really is a real law, but from my sense of it, they did not focus enough on the key piece, which is taking action. So it's not about meditating and seeing yourself, I have $1 million. Yeah, you now have to take actions to lead you that way.
At least find the million.
Absolutely. At least buy the lottery ticket.
That's one thing. I always complain I didn't win, but I never buy.
Yes, indeed. So it's so important to marry whatever it is you wish, your thoughts and your energy, to an action, because it helps you manifest, and it also demonstrates to the universe that you really are serious about what it is you want to have.
Okay. So would you say that The Secret is just developing an intuition, but with a few steps missing?
I would say the secret is to get the concept out there to people that thoughts are real and they have energy and your thoughts will manifest. Because what the secret
Okay.
really says is whatever you focus on will appear in your life. And that is true because quantum physics has shown that on a subatomic level, right, everything breaks into atoms and everything vibrates. And things that move slowly, like you or me or this table, we're visible. But things that move really quickly, like sound or light or your thoughts, are not. So we think our thoughts have nothing to do with reality, but they have everything to do with reality. It's like that old joke about, if somebody says, okay, don't think about pink elephants for the next 30 seconds.
Right.
Oh, you're going to just think about pink elephants.
Yeah.
So it's that, I think the real critical piece of that was the connection between the things you focus on and what you get in your life. So if you want more money, you don't think about everybody you owe money to. And you don't think about how you don't have money, because then you get more of not enough money.
Right.
But you have to take the action. Again, we'll use money. So if money is the example, you're not going to get more money just by sitting there wishing you had more money. You have to take action. You can focus your intent to making more money, and then you have to take the action to solidify it and to bring that to you.
And then I would assume that the whole time you're doing that, you would have to use your intuition to make right choices. And,
Absolutely.
And just go out. Okay, well, give me, what is the difference between fear and intuition?
Oh, it's a great question, and I get that all the time. Intuition is very expansive and very positive, and fear makes you contract. I'll give you a great example. If you're walking down a street and your intuition senses danger, it will not say, "Danger, Will Robinson." Okay.
Yeah.
Your intuition will say, "Turn around." Or as you approach that juncture, it'll say, "Go left." But your intuition will not say, "Danger, look out." So intuition is always positive. It's never a negative thing. If you're getting a negative message, it's probably your own fears and subconscious coming through.
Okay, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't listen to negative. If somebody says, "Oh, bus coming," boom.
Yes, absolutely,
Then it's somebody
absolutely. But I have
Yeah.
people say to me, I don't know if it's my intuition. I keep getting a sense that something's going to happen to my children. I said, well, if it was your intuition, you would get something more like call the school.
A
Or,
positive action.
yes, go get the children early.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's always positive. And the other thing, Lori, is it happens so quick. It's the very first thought you have. And a lot of times we don't tune in to that first thought. So we're sort of
Yeah.
not there when we're getting the intuitive hit. And we tune in a little later. And then in hindsight, we'll say, oh, I did. I thought about that. And I
about that.
totally ignored it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we were also talking about, it's like, okay, you were saying that intuition, if you don't, you can, a feeling, you might not, how do you know if you're intuitive? And I was going, well, how do you know? And how?
Right. Yeah.
So how can we tell if we're intuitive? We're accepting that we are, but how
Right.
can we?
Well, the first thing is we have to start to pay attention because, as I mentioned earlier, most of us discount it. We ignore it. And even the most right brain person I know, when I push left brain, will say, you know what? I've had an intuitive experience. If I really push them, they'll be able to come up with one. So you want to, first of all, know that it's real and expect to be intuitive, and then pay attention. Pay attention to when you're driving and you're suddenly thinking of a particular song and you turn on the radio and that song's on. That's an intuitive moment.
Right.
Pay attention to when you think of someone and the phone rings and it's them.
Okay.
Or I'll tell people to play little games, like when you go to get your mail today, try and sense in the mailbox, how many pieces of mail do I have?
That's
And,
cool. Yeah.
before caller ID, I would always tell people to sense who was on the phone.
Piece of cake now, yeah.
Right. But, you can, before you meet someone for the first time, you could take a moment and close your eyes and go, what do I think I know about that person? And it's like imagination when we were children. We don't give ourselves permission to play and imagine as adults. And that's a big piece of how we cut our intuition off, because we have a hit and then we think, oh, that was stupid.
Yeah.
And then later, people say, I knew it. I can't believe I didn't listen to myself.
Or we put it under coincidence, and
That's-
that taking away our
Absolutely.
power and saying, oh, it was whatever, the universe or something. mapping that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give people to, if we had to just tell everyone right now, what's a few things or something they could do to get this started? Besides, we're going to talk about the classes that you have. We're going to talk about
Besides
the
study with
meeting.
me, yes.
Right. Thank you,
Come
sir.
to the class.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing is you want to be open-minded, like we said, which is you just want to be open to the fact that maybe I am intuitive all the time and I don't know it. And you want to expect to have intuitive moments, and then you want to practice. You can practice with something little. Parking spots are the big
We've
popular
all done
one,
that. I'm
right?
going to visualize
Yes,
a parking lot.
absolutely. But you can do it with a person you want to meet or clients you want to attract. You just really set your intention. You say, what is it I want? Okay, I want 3 new clients by the end of this week. And it's just going to happen because my intuition is going to go out there and create the scenario to bring it back to me.
Now, should we go for the big one, or should we do baby steps?
That's a great question. I tend to think, here's the thing. It's got to be something you can believe, because if you don't believe it, you're going to make it not happen. So if you try to use
complicated, it's supposed to be so easy. Yes.
well, it's got to do with energy, right? And if I really don't believe that I can
Yeah.
manifest $1 million, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But if I believe I can manifest 3 new clients, that's completely reasonable, then that's what I should start with. So you want to practice with things that really work for you easily. Or you can actually play games. If you have a friend, you could take a deck of cards and you could take turns sending and receiving. Like, you hold the card and think red or black. We'll start simple, just the colors. Or you can do it with yourself with a deck of cards. I tell some students to do that, put their hand on and see if they can feel, because red feels different from black. Red feels hot and the black feels cool.
Okay. All right. So now, let's say they didn't get it right, then what?
The really important part is not to be self-critical, okay? Because it
Okay.
takes practice. You wouldn't expect to walk into a gym and press 100 pounds if you'd never lifted a barbell.
And again, there's intuition as a muscle. I
That's
love it.
right, yes. So you really have to be kind with yourself and just play, because when you adopt an attitude of play, then the odds are you're going to open, because creativity really opens your intuition up. That's another thing I tell people to do, develop their intuition, is there's something you love to do that's creative, like sing or dance or write or sculpt. Do that, because what'll happen is you'll probably have some intuitive hits while you're doing it, because you're wide open. You're in the moment. You're in the flow. Things are working for you. So you don't want to judge. You just want to play. You know, you could pick up a magazine and say, what do I think is on the inside front cover? And just try and get a sense. Is it a blue picture? Is it a fruit? What might it be? And take a look. And the more people play with it, the better they get.
You sort of hone your skills.
You do.
Yes.
You really
Okay.
do.
And then, okay, so let's say they should practice and start small. And then, is there any value to like recording what's going on?
Oh, yes, thank you so much. You absolutely want to write it down, because
Okay.
I read something in the paper the other day that as humans, what we remember is the negative. We don't remember the good things in our lives. And let me tell you, when it comes to intuition, people totally space it. I've had hardcore people tell me, I've never had an intuitive moment in my life. And when I really drill down with them, they have. So write it down, because it makes it more real, and it helps you remember that you really did have an intuitive experience.
And you said that most executives you find are intuitive, or
Yes,
they will
yeah.
tell you, I have
Yeah.
good hunches,
The-
or
yeah,
I can
good
read
instincts.
people well, or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
good instincts. That's
Okay.
what they'll say. And so if you when I probe them, like, what does that mean? Good instincts, or my hunches are good. You wind up coming down to some ephemeris thing that is their intuition. It's like, so basically, and then I took this leap.
Okay, but that's not intuition. Don't worry.
yeah.
So, well, how does that trickle down to the employees then?
That's a good question. Well, a really good intuitive leader could get a sense of, and this is usually what the HR person does, right? They're often the intuition of the
Yeah.
organization, because you could get a sense of what's the climate, what's the mood, what's the attitude of the people in the organization, where might I need to tweak things to make it more supportive and more positive. And that very much can be an intuitive experience if an executive will open themselves up to that.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to just start out, and then you'll come to our great session. You'll take a class with her, maybe. We're going to start out accepting that everybody's intuitive,
Yes.
to some degree, and then we're going to do little practice things just to have fun.
Yeah.
Don't let it be a life or death hinge thing. It's like just
No.
do some fun things like a parking spot, and then write it down and start
Yes.
appreciating it.
Yes.
Now tell us what you would do. You have a class coming up?
I do. I have a class starting the beginning of next month, and
Okay.
it goes for 4 weeks, and it's how to develop your intuition and use it for your business, help grow your business.
Okay.
It's a teleclass. It's an hour long every Wednesday, and for 4 weeks in a row.
Okay. Now, what are some of the things that they would be learning in that?
Oh,
And
that's-
is it I can't see a real difference between. I mean, if you really develop your intuition, it's going to be business, it's going to be romance, it's going to be whatever you want it to be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. It's really just the fact that I use it to help them
Little
with business. It's just a focus.
Okay.
It's just where are you focusing versus if it was I teach a personal development class and people there are usually focusing more on, how can I be happy or have romance or more money or lose weight or whatever,
Right.
whatever it is. How
And
can I
didn't
use
you
my
say
intuition for that?
that most people who contact you, well, she also does readings, which are, intuitive, psychic readings, whatever. And most people who contact you eventually decide, well, oh, maybe I need a coach.
Yeah,
Explain that.
it's
'Cause
amazing.
That's fascinating.
I was very.
We'll all become intuitives
I was
and get our
real-
clients that way.
I'm telling you, I was really surprised at that. So when I do intuitive readings, mostly over the phone, I just tune into that person's energy and then I tell them whatever I pick up. And what has happened is that I will tell people information. A lot of times my coach side sort of kicks in because they might say, well, yeah, but what would I do with that? So I might ask them a coaching question or two. And afterwards, I've had many clients go, you know what, that was so helpful in giving me clarity and direction. Like, what's this whole coaching thing about?
Maybe I'll try that.
Like, wow, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you all about it.
It's a kind of a long lead in. It's a
Yes,
long
sir,
elevator
that's
speech.
right.
Yeah.
It is a really long elevator speech.
But as our last speaker said, we had a workshop. This was elevator speeches are so 5 years ago.
I like that.
Good. All right. So, but you also it's like if someone is calling for a psychic reading, then obviously usually there's an area of concern.
Absolutely. There's usually an area of discontent or unhappiness or frustration
or
or indecision. They're at a crossroads in their lives. They're
Right.
not sure how they want to proceed. Really, guidance. People are looking for some kind of clarity and guidance, just like they do. I mean, in coaching, not so much guidance, but they're looking for clarity and someone who can help support them.
Right.
And the psychic readings are very similar.
Okay, and I had there's a quote, and I have no idea who it's from, but it's like all action stems from negativity because naturally, if you're in paradise, you're not moving. I'm here for
true.
good. But so that's the time that they would be contacting you. So in this class now, and I'm sorry, say the name one more time. The title?
It's the title of the class
Subject, whatever.
is the intuition class for I think it's putting your intuition to work in your business.
Now you can find
And
it.
it's on my
Tara
website.
has a website, and it's very simple. Tara, Tara Roth, ROTH.com. And I know you can sign up for a free newsletter. And isn't there 5?
Yes, if you sign up for my monthly newsletter, you'll get a special report on 5 tips to develop your intuition.
Yeah. I'm on the line tonight. I like this. And it's Tara, Tara Roth.com. And you can check it. And if you can't find that or you forget it, right at the bottom of the screen is our website, and we can certainly hook you up to Tara. But tell us, now, this is the last time I'm going to ask you a question because I want to let her answer it this time. Instead of interrupting like I always do. No. Sorry. What can they learn in this darn class?
Okay.
Yes.
So what they're going to learn is techniques to how to direct their energies, how to increase their focus and their intention, how to have more intuitive experiences hands-on, because I'll teach them several techniques such as grounding and centering that are very, very important.
Will you give away a big secret if you told us now? Could you just tell us one of them? Just tell us one.
Absolutely.
Don't tell us
You know
one.
what? I'll tell you grounding because I must tell you, I don't care how linear you are. Everyone needs to learn to ground.
Okay.
So grounding is, you ever notice if you walk outside in nature, how often it's like, you just sort of
Yes,
feel
a deep
settled.
breath.
Yes, well, that's what grounding is, and nature will automatically do it. But because, especially if you live in Manhattan, you can't always get out to nature, what I teach people to do is to imagine their tailbone and imagine that there's a cord that comes out of the base of their spine that goes into the ground all the way into the center of the earth. I know this sounds strange, and locks in. And that's called grounding. And what it does is, first of all, it gets you out of your head.
Okay.
And it gets you more focused here, which is where your intuition resides, and it takes you out of that whole mental mind too, and it helps settle you and improves your focus. So that's a
Okay.
really good technique. And I teach people how to clear their chakras. I teach them how to work with their aura, because I forgot this. Many coaches are empathic. You coaches out there, and how do you know if you're an empath? If you've ever had this experience, you're in a great mood and you walk into a room full of people, and in 5 minutes you're either angry or depressed or frustrated. You're an empath.
Yeah.
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 So what you're doing is you're actually empaths are people who feel other people's feelings, but they don't realize that they're doing it. So they just think, oh wow, I was in a great mood. Now I'm depressed. But they don't realize, no, Susie over there is depressed. She's radiating it, and you're absorbing it.
Getting it. Yeah.
So a lot of the people who come to my classes, I have to teach them how to guard
What do you do to
against
cure
that. Well, you really have to put up an energetic boundary within your aura, and I teach them how to strengthen their aura to do that.
And
But
if this sounds out there, it is. But I think we're all on a level.
it
It is. It's out there. But we're all on a level where I think we're all open to the universe and its power. So, and this, I'm thrilled with this. So yeah.
Well, the first thing I'll tell people, for all you empaths out there, is when you have this experience where you were in a great mood, now you're in a terrible mood, here's the question you ask yourself: is this my feeling or somebody else's? And just asking that question will sort of shift your perspective a little to make you think, well, maybe it isn't me. And in that moment, then you have an opportunity to push that energy away from you.
Absolutely. And I think as coaches, we learn finally, and we keep learning, to, if there are drainers in your life who take your energy, you need to not maybe hang out with the drainers and get people who are going to replenish and be on the same page
Well,
as you.
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, there are people that are energetic vampires. I mean, they literally,
I love that.
It's true.
I call them drainers, but okay, same point.
They suck your energy. You walk away from them, you're exhausted. They feel great.
Exactly.
What's up with that?
I still have a sister who would be depressed, and I'd walk around for a week depressed. She had gone on with her life.
Absolutely.
And it's like, what is that all about?
And we all know those people that when we're around them, we're like, oh, I just feel so good. I feel upbeat and positive. Like there's possibilities. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with.
You want to make a little group of those. But
yeah.
Okay, so all right, so that's cool. And if you wanted a psychic reading, again, you can find on her website, which is tararoth.com. So we have 1.5 minutes, believe it or not. I told you.
Time flies when you're having fun.
When you're having a good time. So tell us one more time what we can expect on Tax Day 2009.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
I can't wait.
You are going to learn how your particular intuition speaks to you, how to tap into it, and how to really have an intuitive experience. You'll walk out of there knowing you are an intuitive person.
And with that knowledge, you can, what will that knowledge give you? I mean, it's just like, ooh, now is it going to be, I have to keep it under a barrel like you did for a while?
Right.
Or is it like, you're going to learn how to use your gut sort of to make decisions?
Yes, yeah. You know what? Intuition is like having an ally there 24/7. It always gives you great advice. Yeah. So it's like having a friend all the time that you can tap into and go, I don't know, do I want to do X or Y? And you can tap into your intuition and make a decision.
And feel more confident.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, and hopefully at the same time, you're developing it so that you're really becoming comfortable with that.
Yes, and comfortable is a perfect word, Lori, because that's what I have realized. Most people just need to get acquainted with it and then get comfortable with it.
Okay, so if we're all going to start out on the same page, which is everybody's intuitive, whether you like it or not.
That's right. Poof, you're intuitive.
All right, that's taken care of. And then we just play little games to develop. Let me, just because we're going to get cut off, we always do, and I have never figured out on time this yet. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for coming in April, too. I can't wait for that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay.
That was so much fun.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
That is